working on some special projects.
Sounds good. All right. Well, for the recording, this is our mapping call. And Elliot was showing us a bioregional map that he had planned out for Superior, Arizona, right? Is that where? Yeah.
Sonora Desert.
Sonora Desert. All right. We're getting ready to talk about our own. So last time we met, we kind of talked about here's Chad. Hi, Chad.
Hello.
How are you?
Okay. All right. Just had a little problem connection.
Oh, yeah, no problem. We just finished our check-ins. Would you like to check in real quick before we get started?
Yeah, real quick. What's going on? I mean, yeah, nothing much, just doing all right, just trying to enjoy the summer and usually succeeding. I had a beautiful encounter the other day. There's a beautiful swimming spot not far from here, and I went over, and the water is crystal clear for Michigan, but it's very pure. It's spring fed, and then on the far side of this pond, there was some rustling in the reeds, and I looked over, and there was a turtle. So then I swam over, trying to see what kind of turtle it was, and then I could see a shell underneath. It was a big turtle. And then he turned around, and it was this. It took me a minute to actually recognize it, but there was this big snapping turtle looking at me. Yeah, just feet away. It looked like a skull underwater. It was a little bit eerie. It was like a spirit of the lake. So we looked at each other for a moment, and he swam off. It was probably 2.5 feet long.
Big one.
Yeah.
Well, luckily you spotted him before you got too close.
Yeah. Then I was keeping my toes out of the mud.
Yeah.
After that, yeah.
Well, cool, because that swimming in the lakes, that's actually the theme of the maps that we're going to be working on, which I have felt like, especially past couple of weeks, it's been so hot, have been extremely relevant. Also, with all the torrential rain that we've been getting, I'm sure that it's similar in the areas that you guys are in, but we have a lot of sewers overflowing, and a lot of algal blooms that are starting to pop up all over the place. So actually all the water is unsafe to even touch, pretty much in the Buffalo area. So I thought that was very relevant for talking about how do we make our water swimmable again. And we had talked last time about doing a community mapping. Elliot put together started to the start of a presentation. I'm gonna pull that up in our Google Drive. The start of a presentation for a community mapping project, similar to what Islands of the Salish Sea in Cascadia, they had a similar community mapping project that took place over the course of 3 years, and engaged a lot of different communities, islands off the coast of Canada. And so where we kind of left off last week was just wanting to clarify exactly what it is we're going to be including in the map. We have some ideas where it's going to be degradation challenges. So what's making the waters unswimmable? And it's phosphorus overloading, different kind of pollution problems. We do have some maps in the Google Drive that we collected from places like the Buffalo Niagara Water Keepers on the US side of the Niagara River. We are specifically focusing on the Niagara River just for now, just to kind of get our process down before we start to expand to a larger area. And then Elliot found some public resources for the Canadian side. And we're going to be focusing on the degradation challenges and then restoration efforts. So on the American side, we have the Niagara River Greenway. That's a lot of New York State funded projects. We also have community gardens along the in the Niagara County and Erie County. And then we'd also talked about having more native species. So what kind of species, plants and animals would you expect to see in a healthy ecosystem? If the waters were healthy again and were thriving, what would it look like? And maybe some particular keystone or indicator species. Then is there anything else, Elliot, that you can remember or think of?
I was shaking my head no, in case
Okay.
you didn't see that.
No, I had you minimized. All right. So I guess where we wanted to have more of a discussion of how we would present the map. And Elliot, I know that you were gonna think about what it is. You were gonna think about what it is we could bring to the meetings, and if we had any homework that we were going to work on outside of the meetings. Do you have anything that you wanted to mention?
This is some of the homework that I did. And I sent this picture to you, but sometimes when I send pictures, it takes a while to show up. But this is basically just me thinking on that theme of the map that we present just has to be coherent and not comprehensive. So it's kind of the next iteration of this initial map that I started to work on here. And let's see if I can do this in a sort of logical way. So we've got the title there, and then what I'm imagining along the border is that we start at the headwaters near Hamilton, Ontario, and have people, either volunteers, doesn't matter where they're from, or people from that area, pick an animal, a plant, something that represents that particular part of the watershed to them, draw it. Like that owl that you see on the back wall there. My colleague's 9-year-old son drew that. On the map here, I drew Massasauga rattlesnake that one of my colleagues instantly recognized, because even though my drawing isn't that great, it has the bow tie ribbon on it, so it represents it. So that ends up becoming that banner, and then we go from the New York side with people from different watersheds or volunteers researching a watershed and picking a thing, and it kind of meets in the middle here, which would be whatever, maybe it's Niagara Falls or something like that. This is a little bit of text. This map helps guide us where we want to go or what we'd like to know. It seeks to inspire and connect communities with regenerative actions that allow us to swim together as a river. This map is not comprehensive or representative. It is a snapshot of just some of the many ever-evolving stories. We invite you to participate in this process by contributing to this collection. And then there's a link that links to that bioregional atlas page where people can add in their own bits. So then in the middle here, I've got, the Niagara River itself. Over here, a very simple outline of the watershed, so that there's something that shows both the Canadian and the US sides. And then we just pick one heat map, doesn't have to be comprehensive, of a degradation and some of the solutions that people are walking on. That's some of the solutions that people have been working on. And then over here, some visionary or poetic description of where we'd want to go, what it kind of looks like. And the idea is that this would be the giant poster map that you can bring to events. And then we have a booklet that contains all kinds of other little neat maps that tell the story along that coherent but not comprehensive theme. So and I didn't get to it until 5 minutes ago, but I've been thinking about it, is what we could do during this meeting is, and I've been talking for a while now, so I'll be done soon. We can, think about what elements of this or this cover map we're comfortable proceeding with. And then once we've had that, we can brainstorm or create that initial document of this is the table of contents of other maps that we want, so that we can put that call to action out there. Like Buffalo Niagara Waterkeepers maybe already has a really nice map they've put together, or we can put the call out to the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority and say, hey, we're looking for a map on these themes. What do you have? This is what it fits within. And then the final thing would be, if anybody feels inspired to, draw some art or paint it or whatever, we could slowly start to collect that and put that call of action out so that we can start to put together that banner that goes, the ribbon that goes along the outside of the map. That's it.
Wow. Thanks. No, I think that all sounds really great, and it's an awesome opportunity to actually get some participation from some of these organizations or their volunteers or community members. I already have a couple of things in mind that I would like to see included. So those things that you were mentioning, like identifying what areas that we'd want to focus on. I think the animals would be great. But I'd love to also open it up for Jonathan and Chad to mention what they think.
I think it's cool to pull together all this in one place. And I like it as an exercise in community building itself. I always thought that, recognize the importance in the process of the mapping in order to, build community and in a way instantiate the ideas as a shared vocabulary, including a visual vocabulary across groups. So I like that idea. I guess just some questions, just curious more about the context. So what kind of events do you imagine bringing the banner to? And maybe you mentioned this, but what are you going to do something with is there a digital home for this place in addition to the Bioregional Atlas? What's the digital version going to be serving? Yeah.
Well, I can answer the question about the events. So I'm a volunteer with the Buffalo Niagara Waterkeepers, and we do a lot of educational outreach events. We do a lot of tabling. We meet with schools and other community groups. So that's where my mind went for, if we're going to focus on the Niagara River, giving something for the volunteers to use in their educational outreach. We have some maps, but they're not really very user-friendly. They're kind of in magazines that we just kind of flip open to. So this would be something that we would bring to those events.
It could be cool to have people sign it on the back.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. They also, we have participated in community artwork events too, where not necessarily the Buffalo Niagara Waterkeepers, but we partner with other organizations that do some sort of plastic artwork, things like that, with kids and at some of their events. So I think that's also an opportunity to get people involved or signing it. Yeah. Sorry, Elliot, go ahead.
Yeah. So maybe I'll answer one of your questions, Chad. Bioregionalatlas.org would be where a digital version of this would live. The idea is, and it's just a skeleton of a website right now, you can find what watershed I'm in, who's working in that watershed, and then some resources. And this would be one of those resources that tells part of that story of that place.
I also forgot to mention that Brandon Letzinger has been, he created a Great Lakes website for us. It's also very bare bones, called regeneratethegreatlakes.org. So I would imagine that this would be a place that we could send people to within our communities, while also having it linked to the bioregional atlas as well, so that it's more of a shared across multiple areas. But as we start to build this website, what I would hope is that we can start adding events that are in our bioregions onto this webpage. We can start linking to Possible Rochester, the 7 Generations Legacy Project, any other organizations that might be considered partners with us, or in some way, associated with our group. Jonathan, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, just that the website looks very cool. And I guess my question is what's the sort of process for how this gets built out, and what we do with it, that kind of thing. And I can see referring people to it as we continue to talk about the Bioregional Learning Center. But don't have anything to add at the moment.
So anybody who is really good with WordPress and who wants to work on this, by all means, I can give you access to it. I met with Brandon, and I'm not very fluent with WordPress, so he was showing me some things that, like, how to add events to it. And we're going to be meeting again to kind of go over it. But I think that this is something that I would like to have be open to, any member of the group that wants to add to it, can feel free to do so. And like I said, we can add your website to it and link it somewhere, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. I'm reasonably adept with WordPress, and I just started a little directory website myself of the various organizations as I was coming across them. So if we're planning to list organizations and entities that you should interact with, I have a few of those already, entries ready to go. So
Great.
yeah. So happy to collaborate on this in any way that you're looking for.
Cool. Yeah, after I meet with Brandon again, I can actually just send you the login information. If you feel like adding something, by all means, go right ahead. All the stuff that's on here is pretty much stuff that Brandon had added.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, it'll be good to look around, see if there's anything that's obvious that would be helpful.
And so there's that section there on watershed hubs. And there's one right now, Niagara. Is Rochester lining up?
Yeah, I guess
So is there like a plan for connecting, making this a hub of hubs? That's what it looks like it's set up to do, right? Yeah. And are there like candidates who are about to step in, or kind of want to just get the layout of the website ready first before reaching out?
no, you can definitely, if there's something that you want on the website, he literally just went over this on Friday, and just stuff that he himself added to it. So whatever you guys want on it, it's obviously, there's a lot of little things that need to get fixed up on it. So I think he just added the Niagara River just as one example to kind of show what the layout could be like. But no, I would definitely want to have each of the Great Lakes. I mean, I think the Genesee Valley would be part of the Great Lakes. So that would be fine to use too. But it would be great if we could have more watersheds.
There could be a lot.
Yes, a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that's looking way ahead, but just like, what would a build out of that? Imagine all the watersheds represented, like what sort of, yeah, what sort of structure would be needed to accommodate that, both from the website and like collaboratively. And I'm just thinking way ahead, but yeah, I'm just also thinking about groups here that might want to become representatives for our area watersheds. And I mean, this site also isn't alone, right? There are others like Regenerate Cascadia and Regenerate Colorado Basin, perhaps. So yeah, so yeah, I mean, maybe are some examples, pre-existing examples that are being hosted on those websites on what this might look like being further fleshed out, and then is the like what sort of I'm not sure Brandon's thought more about this, but yeah, what sort of like how are these individual Regenerate Bioregions websites themselves to be networked in a way to facilitate higher level sharing and learning, and what sort of like standardization is there in the website development and that kind of thing, if necessary, or just like independently develop them as we like.
Yeah, I think ultimately, eventually, he is hoping to kind of have a standard procedure, and have some standardized tools that he could just hand over to a region. This would be at what we've been calling a subcontinental scale in the design school, or like the basin. He has wanted to have, this is one of the first ones that he's done. I don't know if he's done Regenerate the Colorado River yet, but he's building out the Regenerate Cascadia.org, and that's much more fleshed out. So would be a great example to use, but we can individualize it to however we want. If it turns out that the watershed list gets a little bit too cumbersome and too crazy, I think that we could also limit it, and we could change however we want to have it. Maybe it would just be the Great Lakes listed rather than every individual watershed. I would imagine that, Niagara River and St. Lawrence, those could be two easy ones to add on, but maybe we wouldn't do all of the other different watersheds. I was thinking, because Brandon isn't going to be around forever to help with this, that it would be really whatever we wanted to make it, because somebody or some people within our group would have to manage it. I'm certainly good to manage it at a basic level. Like I said, I'm not super tech savvy, but I think I could figure it out. So it's really however much we want to build it out and kind of share what we want posted on it. So it can basically be whatever we want it to be, is what I imagine. Do you have any ideas that you would like to see? Or you can think about it and you can come back.
I'm just putting in the chat the directory site that I created just as a placeholder. And you can see what's on it. And whether these are useful items to add to the regeneratethegreatlakes.org.
Oh yeah, I like this. You have a lot of like people from the area, agencies. I mean, it would be great to somehow combine these so we don't just, have two separate things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, this was just, I had no place to put this information. So I thought it would be useful to create this. It's not, it's not a particularly public site, and it's, I don't know if you know WordPress, you can check the box as to whether you want the search engines to pay attention to it or not while you're building it. I don't know what the regeneratethegreatlakes.org site is set to, but generally speaking, it won't show up in search engines until you activate that option if you want to work on it before you make it open to the wider public.
Yeah, I don't believe it's not live yet. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I could see how this would be helpful. I actually was looking for something like this and hadn't been able to identify anything quite like it so far. And I've been putting together a list of, it's rather hodgepodge because a list of networks or groups, institutes, and organizations in the Great Lakes. But it's a bit hodgepodge because some of them are more relevant to me here, while at the same time some are focused like Michigan or like Huron or across all the Great Lakes.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm trying to put together a list like that. So are you receiving input?
Well, we're absolutely open to input. It's another WordPress site, and it's very easy to make people. In fact, you can register on it and create your own username, and I would bump you up to editor or administrator or whatever level you want, so that you could add material here. Again, just as a kind of a staging place, and then decide what it is that you want to put on the main regenerate site. Some of this is just recording who the players in the area are in the various entities, um, and it's certainly not, enormously built out. It's just as I come across stuff.
yeah, maybe we could connect Jonathan and see how we can organize it. I'll reach out to Brandon and see how we can get you to be an editor for the Regenerate the Great Lakes. And then we can kind of talk about how we could start incorporating some of those things into the website. Yeah. And then same thing, Chad. You can Chad, Elliot, whoever wants to be able to access it. We can make you guys editor as well. So we only have about 20 minutes left in this meeting though, and I would like to go back to the map a bit more. So the components that I think we would want to have are those degradation issues. The main one, I think, the phosphorus overloading is really important. And I think I really like the idea of the having like the heat map of where those problems lie. Is there anything, I don't think that they have that on the Buffalo Niagara Water Keepers though, necessarily. Did you see where we could potentially find that information, Elliot?
There's in a roundabout way it is displayed on the Buffalo Niagara Water Keepers. And I tried downloading the GIS information from the website, which is pretty easy, but I just took like a small one, which is what this. Anyways, that's what that map is. You can't really see it. Yeah, but then I need to play with the data and the symbology for it to actually make sense. And yeah, I think this is where it kind of comes back to that coherent but not comprehensive, is maybe we don't need a heat map that shows the entire watershed, but just a section where we can say, this is what it looks like here. It's an issue to various degrees across the watershed. Here are the causes, and here are what people are doing to solve it. And then on that cover map, it can say, see page 23 of the information booklet for more detailed mapping / information.
Oh, okay. I like that idea because I think it would be a bit busy to try to put everything on it. And I know one of the things that Buffalo Niagara Water Keepers had mentioned that would be cool to see is even like hard shorelines versus soft shorelines. Because that's just that's one of their big projects, is to do more living shorelines instead of the concrete mow to the edge of the water kind of thing. Okay.
If you give me 1 second, I can show you what I've been working on. And if I have screen sharing availability, yes. Calls to action document. It's intended to guide actions that will produce our map. 3 calls to action, kind of the ones that I laid out in my long monologue there. So create art. So I'm Elliot. I'm going to draw a Massasauga rattlesnake, specifically around the Wainfleet bog. Bogs are super cool. And then I can post that image over here, or a link to that image that can live somewhere in the shared drive folder. And then we can take that and have people's drawings and use like whatever canva.com or whatever to create that ribbon around it, which will then, there'll be a link here so that people can, I don't know if you can work on things simultaneously with Canva, but we can figure out something. So yeah, that's that section. People can sign up. Chad, if you want to draw a snapping turtle or whatever, have a picture of it or a poem, or doesn't really matter. So that's that. Then table of contents. So we want to show the wetlands of the watershed. We want to show hard shorelines versus soft shorelines. Here's, who we might want to reach out to or already want to reach out to. Here's a link to the final map, and here's the data sources that we use. And, maybe we only have the data sources, so people can just drop that link in there. And then, yeah, like I said, here we'd have a link to wherever we can co-create this cover map. And there can be like an explanation, like a diagram basically, where it's like, here's our cover map, and it's labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or purple, orange, blue, red. And red means we're going to do that phosphorus overloading as a heat map, and it looks something like this in this current iteration. So this is something that we can, if it's clear, maybe we need to accompany a 1-minute little YouTube video that goes with it to explain how people can contribute, and then we can start sending that out to whoever, or just use this to guide these more parts of this working group meeting.
Yeah, definitely. I realize that that's probably going to be hard for some other people who aren't anywhere close to the Niagara River. But I can definitely share that with Buffalo Niagara Waterkeepers and some of my contacts in Buffalo. And I think do you know many people in like the Niagara Peninsula, Elliot? Or like have contacts in those organizations?
Yeah, a few. Yeah.
Cool. And then we can just kind of share it amongst ourselves too, if anybody's interested in contributing to this map over time.
And like I didn't, and I mean, maybe this is just a talent of mine, but I knew very, very little about Arizona. But the internet is amazing and libraries are amazing. And I could go and be like, what are the plants like in Arizona? Oh, okay. I can draw a mesquite tree. I don't need to be from there to contribute to it. So we could even open this up to other members of the design school. It's like there's lots of people that are interested in bioregional mapping, and we're trying to be one of the pilot processes of how this unfolds. So if we have a very clear process that people can like tune into and participate for, they don't even have to show up to meetings. It's like we're looking for people to draw different animals, plants, and features of the Niagara River watershed. Here's that outline map of where it is. Go on to inaturalist.com and figure out something neat. Or we can even be more prescriptive and we can say, we're looking for drawings of herring gulls, mink, sturgeon, and whatever.
I'm actually thinking that this sounds like where we could just do one of the design labs and send it out there, because Gwen has been doing a design lab for food systems in Roaring Fork, and she's had Chad, you've been joining. So I think that would be great if we could offer that maybe in the next few weeks and get that out. Yeah, no, this is awesome. Cool.
Well, I guess keep talking.
I mean, I think I'm pretty much done. I got everything out that I wanted to say.
Okay. Okay, so there is a Canva for Teams options where you could collaborate on a map at the same time. I don't know if that costs money. There is an article.
They do have access to a paid Canva account.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, maybe if you just want to try that with the two of us and see if you can get me onto your paid account.
Sure.
And then that would take care of call to action number 3. And yeah, call to action number 2 is already in process. But we'll need to kind of really draft that table of contents so that people can like quickly look through it and be like, okay, I can contribute to 1, 3, and 28. And yeah.
Would you want to? Was that in that Word doc? Is in the Google Drive?
Yeah, it's titled calls to action.
Oh, and I did also reach out to Alberto Ray. He said that he would be happy to review anything that we sent him. So I think he's a little too busy to participate. But I think now that we have this kind of set and it's clear that we're not like more clear of what we would be asking, I wonder if you would even be interested in contributing something small.
Yeah, like, hold on a second here. We already have art. Like, could we add, there it is. Could we add this piece of his art of, I think that's a largemouth bass. Could we add this piece of art of his to the banner?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we can credit him if he wants, or however it works for him. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Or even this one, like, can we use this as this would be an awesome central image. I like in some ways the look of this more than my little map over there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got all of this also already. All of the toxins. So yeah, there's already a lot here that we can just plug into, like maybe this is the table of one of the items in that table of contents.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I saw that you put a whole bunch of information in here as well. So like, I think I opened up this one.
Oh yeah, this is part of it is the Buffalo River, but it did have some things that were relevant to like Tonawanda Creek and parts of the Niagara River watershed.
Yeah. So it doesn't really matter what this is, but it's like we could put a map like this in as one of the pieces of the information package with a link or a citation where you want to find out more, go to this resource.
Mm-hmm.
But again, what we're doing is telling that story, and well, at least this is what I'm proposing, telling the story so that we inspire and connect communities with regenerative actions that allow us to swim as a river again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this is great. Okay. So I guess Chad or Jonathan, do you have anything that you guys would like to add to any of this? Or any ideas that you think would be good to include in any of these processes?
Not at the moment. Yeah, just trying to get a sense of all the stuff that's going on. That's good.
Yeah, pretty much the same here. I understand what would be most useful to contribute. So look forward to getting the prompts.
I'll just share.
Yeah. I like that a link that you put in the chat, Jonathan. Um, it's already super helpful. Maybe it isn't perfect, maybe it is, but we can copy and paste something like that to collect all of the organizations in
Yeah.
Niagara River watershed. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Cool. Um,
Right.
have maybe a few things that I'd like to say to you, Anna, like kind of real directly, like this is what we want to do. So I don't know if you want to stay on the line for that, Jonathan and Chad, or if we want to do some checkouts first.
Well, I think this has been very interesting, and it certainly connects around to work that I've done. And yes, I'm ready to drop off because I have some other things I need to get done. But appreciate the conversation, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks, if not sooner.
And yeah, myself as well. And I appreciate you guys pioneering this process so that it makes it easier for subsequent watersheds to roll it out there. So you're doing the dirty work. Yeah.
Mainly Elliot, but thank you.
Yeah, everybody. Okay. See you,
All
Chad.
right. Yeah.
All right, so next steps.
So how easy is it for you to check on your Canva account right now if you can add me?
I was actually just on there, and I think I found where I can add you. I think I just invited you.
Okay, I will check my inbox. I got it. I'm opening it. I see your mouse. Cool. Okay, there we go. And I'm pretty sure with Canva you can make it however big you want, right?
It said it was 18. This is a poster, but
Okay,
I would think that it doesn't really matter. This is the biggest thing that I saw. I can
okay,
that though.
okay, cool. But this works. Like we can, yeah. Even just to conceptualize it, and we can always throw it into another Photoshop, or I forget what it's called, the PDF one, if we want to scale it up. It's good enough for like showing what the map looks like without me moving the camera around to things up there, and yeah, allow people to zoom in and all that. Cool. That was one thing. And then I think we need to have a session, whether it's in the design school or not, that really demonstrates what we're doing. Like the Word document is good, but like we are hosting community mapping, blah blah blah, to Niagara watershed, blah blah blah. Bring your pens and pencils, bring your paintbrush or whatever, and yeah, do that kind of like speed art exercise, and just kind of have that kind of like inspiring talk that engages the people that are participating in that workshop. And kind of details more the call to action we're actually asking for. Sound good?
Yeah. Yeah, and I
Okay.
think it's a nice practice for if we were to ever do it with an actual community group. Yeah.
Exactly. You want to take the lead on setting that up?
Absolutely.
And we can start to use that presentation, the slide presentation that I put together. Like that's kind of what I was thinking when I was starting to create that, is this is what a presentation would look like. So yeah, I can keep working on that presentation so that we've got some visuals. to put up on the screen.
Cool. Yeah, and I can add to it too. I think that you said that July was going to be busy for you, right?
Yeah, it's pretty busy depending on what time of day we do it.
Okay.
Be okay. Yeah, like right now, Thursday the 20th of July is more or less open. And then I've got a bunch of things that are kind of floating around for the last week of July. So possibly Tuesday the 25th, or actually Monday the 24th in the mapping time slot. That would work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because what I'm thinking is if we want to try to get this done, do that design lab before that lunch lecture,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty
So yeah, let's aim for Monday the 24th, and it can just be this meeting can be that.
cool. Awesome. All right.
Nice. And yeah, then I think the other thing that we can just kind of work on asynchronously is that table of contents. And we already have so much in the different Excel sheets and documents that are uploaded. But if we kind of put that in one place, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Then yeah, we can, have the Google Drive organized nicely as well, where it's like table of content, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and change the file name so it's like toxins in the river, page 28, and then citation Alberto Del Rey.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, that's all I can think of top of my head.
No, this is perfect. I am really feeling good about how this is turning out. Very excited.
Mhm.
All right.
Me too.
And I guess I'll see you tomorrow too.
Yeah. You got your potluck dish envisioned?
No. I need
Okay.
to figure that out.
Yeah, it's tough crossing the border as well.
Yeah.
There'll be
Yeah.
lots of food. There'll be lots of food there, even if you don't bring anything. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to bring something that it doesn't matter if it gets cold on the drive because it's a
Yeah.
bit of a drive.
Mhm. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well, thanks, Elliot. Have a good rest of your day. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye.